So let's look at a structure of a trigger here. So basically, we will look at a trigger name. We'll say called trigger name on an object, and it'll have all the parameters. It needs to be, you need to inject all the parameters here to this trigger call after insert, before insert. And as you can see here, this is just a template. This is the list of new records which are coming. Now remember one thing, whenever you're doing some work in trigger, always use it as a bulky file. Don't write for one record at a time. So this way what happens is, this will loop through all the records which are there in a particular this will loop through all the records which are there in a particular new records which are coming in. In your case, when you do the development, it will be only one record for now. So now let's look at another example of a trigger. Now this is the major trigger here. Now look at what we are written over here. Trigger.name on object, and this contains all the events that we want to tackle under this trigger: before delete, before insert, before update, after delete, after insert, after update. And now the first is, we first check for the trigger context is before using a if condition, and within that we are checking is delete. So now we are looping through a list of trigger.old, that is the triggers, the records which are going to get deleted. If the name matches something, what you're going to do is you're going to say a.add error. So this will prevent that record from getting deleted. Now the note here is, if 10 records are getting deleted and only one of them faces an error, it won't fail, okay, because of the trigger here. Unless you use the database class, you have to use the database class to see that, that for even if one fails, the other goes through, okay. So but here basically we are checking for trigger is before, is delete, and we are looping through and preventing a delete of a record if there is something matching. Now the next, when it comes to the else, now it is for the before insert. So in the insert we are checking if there is a name. Again we are now looping through the trigger.new, which is a new list buffer. And if the name is bad, if it may, like for an example, we are not going to allow that insert to happen. So you prevent this. In this, you basically, in the before section, you basically prevent changes or insert or things from happening, okay, before. Another thing is, you can also give values to this in the insert mode. Like look here, if the trigger dot is insert, and in the new you are giving an account number YYY. Just to show you here, in the before, in the insert, we are looping through the new, and every record is getting a value of account number YYY. Now the trigger dot is after and is insert, basically what has happened here is account has got created. So if we go through the list of records, the ID record will be there for the account. So using this ID, what we are doing over here is we are creating a list of new contacts. Okay, so we are creating a list of new contacts, and then we will do an insert of those contacts. So what this is basically doing is, in the is after, in the is insert, we are going through the loop of trigger.new, and we are getting the IDs and making a change to that. So you can see clearly these are the events being handled over here, and this is the trigger is before part, and this is the trigger is after part. Within this we are doing a changes to the is delete, we are managing the is delete, we are managing the update and the insert. We are preventing a delete, preventing a particular insert or an update, and we are mapping a value to it. And in the trigger after, we are basically creating records. So let us look at this trigger.new and trigger. What we will do is, in the labs we will move the account validation rules to the trigger code, and the second major one is to introduce SOQL within triggers. We will see how to avoid deletion of an account if contacts are linked to it. So these are some things that we will do. So let's head on to the edit object. In the object manager, basically what we're going to do is we're going to create some trigger on the account. Alright, so first thing that we're going to do is, you have to go to the object manager in the account, head to the trigger. You can do it from here, or you can create from the developer console also, whichever is your option, whichever you feel is appropriate for you. Developer console also, you can go over here, and in that you can say file new trigger. Okay, so let's use the developer console for now. to build a new trigger. It's taking some time here. Yeah, so now let's close all of this and let's build a file new Apex trigger, and we're going to call it account trigger, and we're going to write a trigger on the account object. Remember, triggers are linked to always like an object, always like validation rule and workflow rule. It is always linked to an object. So select account. So now it basically creates a basic template for you. So you need to add all the other ones that you want to handle. After insert, before update, after update, and before delete. So first thing that we will do here is we will say that, if account name, the use case here is, let's use the excuse me, trigger.is before if trigger.is before and trigger.is delete, what we are going to do is we are going to prevent the deletion of a record if the name matches a particular value. Okay, if account. So now for the first thing, how to process this is you'll have to introduce the loop. So now we can use trigger.old, right? A colon trigger.old, because we are going to check for delete. So this will contain our old buffer. So within this now we can say if a dot name, which is the name of the account, equal to Airtel or Reliance 100, or let's take some example new record, like let's select let's say ASNIF 84. If it is ASNIF 84, we are not going to allow it to be deleted. If the name is ASNIF 84, we cannot delete that record. Okay, right now there are two 84s records, so let's go ahead and see what's happening now. If I can, right now the record gets deleted, so I have another ASNIF 84 over here, so I'm going to use that. Okay, see, I have it over here, but now I won't allow it to be deleted. So if I search for ASNIF 84, it's going to get me my single account which is pending. So now I'm going to prevent this. So if it is equal to, no, so now it's all in the trigger. Now this is not anonymous block. Okay, you're writing within trigger. Now if it is equal to ASNIF 84, I'm going to say a dot add error cannot delete account with name ASNIF 84. All right, so this is what we're going to say. And what, so let's understand the logical thing over here. First, when it comes into the trigger.is before and is delete, these are the context variables. Then we are going to loop to the old, like when we insert records. When we delete the record, it's going to come over here. See, multiple records can be deleted using list, right? So when we delete that record, what it will do is it will not allow you to delete this record. So let us see this in action first. So we are in the before of the delete. So just save it. Make sure when you save it from the developer console, it becomes automatically active by default. But you can further check it by going to your object, to the trigger, and check whether it is on, active. So if you can see, it's active over here, so that's fine. Don't make any changes in both the places, so just use the developer console. So now just go ahead, refresh this once, and let's try to delete this ASNIF 84. So what is going to happen is the trigger is going to fire. When does the trigger fire? Okay, so when does the trigger fire? Triggers fire whenever record is created, updated, or deleted, correct? So we have mentioned the context here. So you don't need to fire it like a class. Okay, you don't need to call a class or something. It's going to fire whenever, now for before insert, after insert, and we are just doing the before delete. We are just checking for the before delete. So before the delete, it's going to automatically fire. So now let's delete and see what's happening. So now it gives us a message, cannot delete account with name as. So this is how basically it stops you from deleting, because now if I go to another record, I'll be able to delete that. AdSense 92, I don't have any check over that, so I can just do a delete, it will delete it. But if I come back to AdSense 84 and do a delete, it's not going to allow me. Cannot delete account. So this way you can introduce conditions here to check. Now the next one that we are going to do is to check for trigger.isBefore and an insert, okay, and an update. So what we will do is we'll take trigger.isBefore and isInsert. We'll do a or trigger.isUpdate. Okay, so let's do this. So in this, what we're going to check is if the account rating is hot, this field, if account rating is hot, it's not allowing us to edit. So let's see the new next. Let's say if the account rating is hot, the rule that I wanted to have is if the account rating becomes hot, the annual revenue has to be more than 1000. Okay, annual revenue has to be more than 1000 if rating is hot. So let's introduce that rule. So this even in the insert and update mode. So if, so again we need to, now which one we will use? We will use the trigger.new. This is the new set of records in the update mode. So we're going to check both insert or update. Okay, if a dot equal to hot, now these fields are and a dot account revenue, annual revenue is less than 999, we are not going to allow that. So we're going to say a dot add error. So somebody is trying to insert or update an account with hot rating and annual revenue is less than 999. We won't say accounts with annual revenue less than 999 cannot be rated as hot. So whenever the user goes here in the before and whenever he tries to update it or insert a record, so this is basically trigger.isBefore and we're doing a check and this is a or condition. Okay, so in any of this condition, what it will do is it will not allow it to change it to hot or revenue. So let's save this. Let's see what's the error here. So we're having some error here. If a dot rating equal to hot, so it always a double equal to. So basically now what will happen is, now when the trigger runs, now this won't fire. Okay, we are not doing any delete. Salesforce will detect that this is an isBefore and this is a insert. So let's now create an account and see. Let's say its revenue is 23. I give a rating of hot, should not take it. Okay, so there are some couple of other fields. So it's going to say there are some errors in the page. Annual revenue of account should exceed 999 for the following. So whatever we have specified over here has come over here in the new mode. So let us satisfy that condition and proceed. So let's do that, save. And now when I try to edit this record, now this has been overridden by some other kind of a page. So let's go back over here to accounts. And then let's, for a minute, let's go to classic and make a change. It will work in both lightning. It is just to show, because right now I have overridden that page. So if I go to accounts here Now in the edit mode, if I make a change here, let me edit the record. Okay, so just pause here for a minute. So now I'm going to come back to the account object here and make that change in the edit mode for that record. I had overridden that page, so there was a problem. I overridden that button. So now I come back over here to the account and let's see how this goes. So basically now if I try to edit this record, it's not going to allow me to change it. Like I cannot, right now I'll try to change the annual revenue to say less than 100, so make it 23 again. It's not going to allow that. So it's going to run in both the edit and in the new mode. So now what we're going to do is we're going to build a trigger.isAfter. So what I'm doing here is in the isAfter we will have account IDs created. So we create a contact object. We're going to create contacts for the account. So we're going to create a list and we're going to loop through the trigger.new. Okay, and then for each and every account record, we're going to instantiate a new contact object, add the last name as a.name account ID and add it to the list. And then we will do one insert call so that it is optimized. So it will go through all the records which are coming through account. It will create that and then it will also create this one, the contact for it. So let's see how this goes now. So now save this. Trigger.is insert. The problem is I had given insert here. So let's save this now. So basically in the after insert mode, what it will do here, it is come here, create a contact object and loop through the new accounts. For each and every account is going to create a contact. So let's run this and see how this works. So here I'm going to go here, the accounts, and come back to this account and create a new account. Call it wholesale account. SRF. I'm going to say active. Yes. I'm going to skip the validation now for now because I don't need the validation to be on SLA. I'll just fill the details and I'm going to create the new record. So when I say new, save, it will not only create but it will also create the related contact. See here, the related contact has been created. But now it's because the trigger and it has taken the same name and it is associated with the parent account. So now let me go to the developer console and create a list of accounts here and see what happens. So now if I go here, it's going to, I have this. So let me create this list of accounts here, say call it 88 or 77 and let's create like say 3 records, okay? And we're not going to give any errors over here, all of them are going to go in fine. So it's going to create all of this. It's going to create the 3 accounts and create 3 contacts. So let's see that. So let's use the existing code here. We can skip the try catch now. So I'm going to create account list. Let's see, something's gone wrong here. So I'm going to execute this. We are having an issue here. Let's see new account. The reason for this is, we're having this. So let's put it in the try catch exception. So let me just try to debug this in front of you so that we get a real-time experience here. We don't need this if here, that is the problem. So there is an extra brace. Let's try this, the whole batch. Yeah, so now it has created 3 accounts with ASNIF 77 plus. And then what we will do is, we'll see if we have any errors here in the debug log. So we don't have any. So let's look at the new accounts and it should have created the 772 and it should have created all the 3 contacts. So this is what I'm talking about, the bulkified. When it comes here, when it goes into the trigger.old, in the trigger, it's going to this is going to go through all the 3 records. So it is going to create the contact for all the 3. Alright, so 772 it has created the contact. Yeah, so please revisit this. So this is how these are the 3 parts of the trigger. We'll continue with more information on this. Currently save it over here and build these triggers on the account, okay?